Welcome back to RJ Academy. Today, we are diving straight into Class 12 Business Studies, specifically focusing on Chapter 2, Principles of Management. We have all been there, the dreaded group project. You know the exact dynamic. One person is frantically doing all the research, while the rest of the team is arguing over what font to use, swapping papers, or just completely missing in action. It feels like a uniquely high school problem, but it's really not. Those massive billion-dollar corporations you see in the news, underneath all the fancy glass buildings, they are essentially just giant group projects, vulnerable to that exact same chaos. Over a century ago, some very observant people noticed how much time and energy was being wasted when people tried to work together. So they developed a specific toolkit to fix the friction. Because whether you are trying to put together a 10-minute classroom presentation or run a global enterprise, putting a bunch of humans in a room without a system to manage how they interact is a recipe for a collapse. Two of the people who built this toolkit were Henry Fayol and Frederick Winslow Taylor. They spent years watching how people behave at work, trying to find the most efficient ways to get things done. But the study of management isn't like chemistry. If you drop one specific chemical into a flask, it will react the exact same way every single time. Humans are much messier than chemicals. We have different moods, different motivations, and different personalities. You can't apply a rigid, unbreakable law to a person and expect a perfect result. That is why we call these ideas the principles of management. They are broad, flexible guidelines. They give you a baseline for how to organize a team, but you always have to tweak them to fit the actual people you are working with. Good management requires taking those standard guidelines and adapting them on the fly to handle the unpredictable reality of human behavior. Let's look inside that toolkit, starting with Henry Fayol's first idea, division of work. Instead of telling everyone in your group to write the whole paper, you give one person the research, another the writing, and someone else the slide design. This diagram shows exactly how this works by splitting a massive block of general work into smaller, specific pieces. When you focus on just one piece of the puzzle, you develop a rhythm. You get significantly faster and much better at that one task, a concept called specialization. But handing out tasks brings us to the next paired concept, authority and responsibility. If you tell a team member they are responsible for printing the final report, you also have to give them the authority to access the budget to pay for the ink and paper. If you give them the responsibility without the authority to buy supplies, they will fail. On the flip side, if you give someone the authority to spend the budget without any responsibility to actually deliver a report, they are likely to misuse that power. When you balance the power you give someone with the specific specialized tasks you assign them, you build an engine where nobody is overburdened or powerless. Imagine you are standing in the hallway, and one teacher tells you to go to the library, but a second teacher immediately tells you to go to the gym. You would be stuck, confused by the contradictory instructions. This diagram shows those tangled, intersecting instructions resolving into a clear hierarchy. This is unity of command. It means every person on a team should only receive orders from one direct boss to prevent mixed signals. Looking at the same chart, we can see those structured nodes now facing a single target. This represents unity of direction. The entire group needs to operate from a single shared plan, moving together toward one common goal. To keep that forward momentum, you need the principle of order. Think about your own house. If your phone is dying and you know the exact drawer where the charger lives, you save yourself 10 minutes of searching. In a business setting, order means having a designated place for every file, for every tool, and every employee. Knowing exactly where things belong prevents wasted time and money. Of course, none of this works if people ignore the system, which brings us to discipline. For an organization to function, there have to be clear rules and actual consequences if those rules aren't followed. When you combine clear structural rules with unified leadership, you can take a disorganized group and align them toward a shared objective. Then there is the concept of esprit de corps. It's a French term that simply means team spirit and harmony. When you apply all these previous principles, dividing work fairly, clarifying who is in charge, and keeping things orderly, people stop looking out for just themselves. An I mentality naturally transforms into a we mentality within the team. The big picture payoff here is that these principles give managers clear insights into reality. Instead of guessing how to solve a conflict, they can make logical, scientific decisions. Following this framework ensures you get the most out of your team's time, physical materials, and human resources without unnecessary waste. Ultimately, management principles are not about controlling employees. They are the essential tools that allow a group to do their best work together, helping them adapt and thrive in a changing world. Thank you for joining this session of RJ Academy. For a full breakdown of these concepts and extra practice materials, check out the chapter notes linked in the description below. Keep going, keep growing, keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.